Hey guys, how's it going? SleepingHollow here. Sorry it took me a week to get this last episode out. I've been really busy last week and just didn't have the time. But now that we're here, we can get back into it and we can finally do some substance painting on our model. So as we're looking here, we have everything ready. We have the UVs and all that ready. And again, if you don't have Substance Painter, they do have a 30-day free trial. I'll leave a link to the description of where you can get that. So once you have that, let's just go ahead and get started. So if you haven't already, export your model as an FBX and just get it to wherever you want it. Let me call this traffic cone tutorial. And then just going to go ahead and export the, oh, we have it. Okay, so export it. And then we can pretty much close out of Blender and just get in Substance Painter. So now we can go ahead and go to File, New. So for some reason, this recorder I'm using isn't picking up the other browser that just opened up when you click New, but you can just follow along with me. So you'll see Mesh, no Mesh selected. We're going to go ahead and hit Select. Then we're going to go ahead and look for our model. So look for Traffic Cone Tutorial. And we're going to leave this at 2000 and press OK. And now you can see we have our model in here, which is really awesome. So just a quick rundown of Substance Painter. Up here you have layers. If you used anything such as Photoshop or anything like that, you know exactly how that works. Down here we have our settings for our brushes. And this is also where you'll see everything else, such as like the different things for different materials. You have different settings here. So anyways, so let's go ahead and get started. So first we're going to delete this one. Then we're going to use a fill layer, which is basically, you know, as it says fill, it's going to add everything. It's going to add it to the whole model. So we're here in materials, and we can look down, and you'll see I have a lot of materials. If you want to look for specific materials, different materials, I'll leave a link in the description of where you can find more materials to download. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So first we're going to focus on the cone itself, and what we're going to do is we're going to use, let's check out this one. So now you can see it applies it to the whole thing, but we don't want that. We only want it on the cone. So we're going to right click on the fill layer and add a black mask. So there we go, everything's gone. Now if we start painting, you'll see that's where it'll allow the paint to be, and it'll apply to the black mask. But if you want like a whole area to be painted really quickly, we can use this. And so it's just a drag, and then we can just drag over it. That's one way to do it. We can clear it again. Another way is if we go right here to the right and click UV. It's basically going to apply to all the islands that are, or the one island that you're clicking on. So because this whole thing in the UV, if we hit F1, you can see that whole thing is its own thing, so it only applies it to that. Or if we hit this, you can see it's applying it to this whole thing, because that's, you know, because if you think about the model, you know, this is its own part. Up here, all these three, you know, in the model are their own, or are together. So that's how that works. So let's keep it like that, and we have what we want. Now we can look at both of these and see which one we want. Do we want a more glossy look or a more matte look? I'm going to go ahead and click the glossy one, but you can follow along. If you don't want to use this one, you don't have to. It's fine. And then we go down here, and you'll see where we have metallic and roughness. If we turn the metallic all the way up, you can see actually it makes it look really metallic. But obviously that's not what we're looking for this, because it's going to be plastic, so we can turn it all the way down. Then roughness. The way you figure it out is black makes it totally smooth, as you can see. It's really reflecting. And if we turn it all the way to the white, there's no reflection at all. It's completely rough. So using that, you know, you can just get it to where you want it. How much shine do you want? Yeah. So go ahead and set that now. I think that's pretty good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to want to clear out the two we're going to be using for the white. So we can go back to, nope, we don't want to add black mask. But down here in color, go ahead and move it all the way to the black. And then we're just going to, no, we want to select this one. We want to make sure it's only the faces we're picking. So we want to get those and those, because that's where we're going to be keeping the white. Alright, and I think also up here, let's get rid of this. Like that. There we go. Now let's focus on the color. So we want a nice orange. So let's go ahead and go on here and see if we can get a good orange going on. Like that. Oh, that actually looks really good. I like that a lot. Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and save that. And up here, if you double click, you can just rename it. So we're going to call it base color, just to stay a little more organized. So now we're going to go ahead and add another one. And it's going to be the white. Actually, go back, just copy this one. Then we're going to add another, we're going to clear the black mask by adding a new one. Then, like we did before, we're going to go ahead and select these. We're going to change the color, don't worry. And that one. And, let's see. That's pretty much it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pick a different material. So let's go ahead and go to Smart Materials. You might not have this one. I think this one I downloaded. So if you don't have it, you know, just go ahead and look around and I'm sure you'll find it. Here it is. I think it's this one. Yeah, okay, so here we go. And this kind of plays along to what I was talking about with your, when making the UVs, you can see right here. This is where it, you know, cuts off on each side. So we didn't do it right. If we wanted to, we can go in Blender and mess with the UVs again. Bring it back in. And fix that. But for now, for this model, we're not going to worry about it. But if you did want to do that, if you open up Blender, make the changes you have to do, export it as FBX again, and we won't have to start over again. All we have to do is go to Edit, Project Configuration, a new window will pop up, and you'll see where it says Mesh. Select it, select the same mesh, and then just press OK. And then it'll export the new one. And it'll keep the current textures you have set already, so you don't have to worry about that. But for now, we're just going to ignore that. We're just going to focus on it as it is. And the UVs, you can see this is another example of the stretching. We should have brought it down a little more. But like I said, you can fix that all when you go back into Blender and make changes. It's a learning process. So now what we're going to do is, let's go back. And now this is where all these different layers come in handy. As you can see right here, this texture, or this material itself, happens to not allow color. As you can see, there's no way to set the color. So what we're going to be doing is, let's change this to white. Oh, let's go white base. Doesn't matter. And now we're going to change the scaling. We want to make them smaller, but I guess not that small. So go ahead and find one you like. Actually, I think 10 might work. That looks good. So now what we're going to do is we're also going to copy this one. But we're going to get rid of everything else. And we're not going to want that. We're going to just pick something else. Actually, where's that gloss? Let's go with that. So we can go ahead, go there. Let's change the gloss down. Perfect. And then we're just going to make this white. And there we go. See? So we have all the detail of this other one, which is handling, it's basically doing the metal, the roughness, the normal, and all that. And then this one is just for the color itself. Now, if you want to further organize your stuff, you can add files up here, or folders. So go ahead and call this folder. We're going to call it white base. We can grab both of these and just move them up there. And there we go. So that's just to help you stay more organized, more in order. So we have most of it set. Now we're going to go down here and want to do this. So we're going to go ahead and add a new fill layer. For some reason it's adding inside the folder. We just take it out and just going to call it the bottom. You know, just call it whatever you need to call it. As long as you know what it means, that's all that matters. So it's going to go ahead and check this. Artificial leather. I like the way that looks. That's pretty fine. So we'll just add black mask, UV. Go ahead and click on all those. And there we go. So if we wanted to kind of go into this, we can, you know, just add more. Alright. Now one thing I forgot to do, but we can just do this now, is if we go to the left down here, you know, find your texture set settings, where you want to big textures. And this is going to create all these textures, you know, the normals. If we had a high poly version of this model we want to add, you can do so here. Well, obviously the window isn't showing up in this recording for some reason. But with the window open, you'll see on the left you have all the different things. On the right, you'll see where it says high poly parameters. If you click that little, you know, folder thing over the minus sign, it'll open up, you know, another window, and that's where you can select your high poly model to make normals out of. So, but we're not going to do that. We don't have one, so we're just going to bake the textures. Alright, great. Now that it's done, you can see on the left now you have all these different other image files now for every single thing, the ambient occlusion, the normals. And if you want to see how each one looks like, if you press C, you can cycle through the different states. So C, there's our base colors only. And then we hit C again, metallic. You know, we don't have any metallic on any of this, so no worries about there. Roughness. You can see down here, obviously there's roughness there because it's a leather. And then normals, and that's where you can see those imprints. They have a normal map. And then height, obviously those also have a normal height to them. And then if we go back to that last one, normals plus height plus base color. Alright, so there we go. Hit M to go back to the material view. So we're making some good progress. Now if we want to get in here, we can actually change this. If you don't like how it looks like, I think, or does this one not give me? No, so that texture. Okay, well, let's just move on. So now up here, actually, because I saw colored this one, I'm just going to add the white to it. Nope. Oops. Let's go ahead and select that. There we go. So that. And now we can call this finished if we wanted to. You know, it's not bad. This is pretty good. But we can add further detail to this if you wanted to. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. And what I'm going to do is just add a new fill layer. Move it to the very top of this. And call this dirt. And so what that's going to do is we're going to go ahead and add a black mask. Right click on the black mask and add a generator. So generators, you can see here, are basically like it simply adds a little detail to your models of what you want, so depending on which generator you pick. So right here we have dirt, dripping rust, you know, edge metalware, light, and glass edgeware. So we're going to go ahead and just select dirt. And now you see I applied dirt to it in using the color we currently have. So that's what it does. What you can also do is if you have a folder, to keep it further organized, you can add the black mask to the folder itself, which you can actually do that if you see here. Boom. And then so what you do is when you add the dirt within that folder, you don't have to worry about it painting over certain areas you don't want it to. Only the stuff that's in that folder will be affected by the dirt. But we're just going to go ahead and add this to the entire thing. It doesn't matter. So first we're going to change the dirt level. Let's bring it down. The contrast we can turn up or down. So, you know, we're just going to kind of mess with it and get it to where you want it. And you can see because of the ambient occlusion information that I currently got, you know, it starts out with those little corners. And you can see that's also where we added those edges when we were in Blender. So all that information really gets in here. So, you know, get it how you would like to see it, and now we can go back to the color. Let's go ahead and mess with it. Just, you know, pick a nice color for it. So we want dirt, so we can get like a nice dark brown, maybe. Kind of like that. So you can just kind of mess with it, you know, mess with the settings and get it to how you want it. There's lots of different info here, as you can see. So you just, you know, so you're just going to want to mess with it and, you know, just see what you can make. And now if we went back to the base color view, you can see just how well it works. Let's go back. So that might be a little too dirty for me. I'm going to turn it down a bit. And that's fine for me. That works. So there we go. The model is done, I think. I think we can call this finished. So now we can export. So we're just going to go to File. Or actually, let's save this first. So Control S. Now let it do its thing. Then we're going to go to File, Export Textures. Now you'll see there's a config which comes with all different already set up configurations. You have Unity 4, which will export the diffuse gloss, normal, and diffuse illumination. We're not going to want that. You know, you have Unity standard metallic, and you have Unity 5 standard specular. So find the one you want. And what I'm going to do really quickly is we're just going to cut and I'm going to show you how each one looks within Unity. We're first going to start with the default config that's set up when you start a new file, which is the document channels plus normals plus AO, no alpha. And that'll pretty much give us every single one that we're going to need. Alright, so here you can see I brought in the model 3 times and used the different materials for each one. So here we're using the default one when you export using just the default configuration, which gives you the albedo, just the actual base colors. You have the metallic, normal, height map, and the occlusion. It also gives you a roughness, but that's not necessary, so don't worry about that. So there's how that one looks like. And actually I kind of messed with it. The smoothness is usually up all the way, so that's how it originally looks like. So that's that one. Then over here we have the metallic version, which is, I guess it doesn't show in the recording, great. But if you're looking at the metallic shader, or metallic material, you'll see that it only gives you the base color, metallic, and the normal map. So I mean, that one looks fine, but obviously we probably wouldn't need this one for this kind of model, for the obvious reason that, this model isn't metallic, so that's just unnecessary. Then right here we just have the specular one, which is just, the base color, the specular, and the normal map. So I think that one looks the nicest for this model. Depending on which model you're using, you'll know which one you might want to use, but I'm pretty sure you wouldn't want to really use this one. It has a weird effect, but these two are basically where you're going to want to be, either metallic or specular. So it's ultimately up to you. Go ahead and mess with the different settings and see what you like. You can also create your own config. So if you can figure a new thing out that you might want to do, go ahead and do that. But that's pretty much it for this whole tutorial series. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry, this video is pretty long. Substance Painter can be fun, but it's a lot of work. Well, for this model, it's pretty easy, but just go ahead and mess with it. Mess with Substance Painter. Mess with all those dials, and you'll really get a hand on it. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.